Hey y'all, hopefully you can hear me and see me. So I just want to share something with y'all because I got a shower download today. It was so interesting. Something about water is a good medium for just for downloads into your psyche. Anyway, the download that I got was this. It was about at the core of a lot of our existence, or at the core of a lot of the issues that we sometimes face in life, especially things that we feel like are lacking or we may be struggling in our earthly experience. At the core of it is a self-worth issue. That's what came in. At the core of what be going on in our life that we may not see favorable, or that may be a challenge for us, the way people are interacting with us, the way things are just going just overall. At the core, it has something to do with a self-worth issue. And so the download eventually came in that it's got something to do with an inner child wound, something, whatever you might be experiencing as an adult that is not aligned with what you really would like to experience or have, or just in general, whatever it is that's lacking in your life as an adult. Somewhere in your childhood, there was a wounding, some kind of wounding, either spoken over you, or an actual experience and interaction with people, the way they treated you, some kind of way. There's an inner child wound connected to whatever is lacking in your adulthood, long story short. And I just had to reflect on it. And I said, what? Okay. So I had to just kind of go down that what they call it, go down that rabbit hill, or I can't even think of it. You know that saying, the rabbit hole, right? Dig down deep and kind of just introspect on that. And the download and just the epiphany that I got was that, yes, because I do remember when I was little, it was specifically situation that I encountered where as a child you don't know, but it'd be people around you who tried to undercut your self-confidence. You know, that's what they say, spiritual warfare starts in childhood. And so once something like that happens, whether it's intentionally or unintentionally, when you are a child, it creates a deep wound in your psychology, and it starts to create a shadow in you. It makes you disassociate with who you really are, and it makes you sometimes start to see yourself in a skewed way in terms of your self-perception, specifically your self-perception, not even so much a worldview, with your self-perception. And now it makes a whole lot more sense about what Reverend Ike said. You're not going to go anywhere or have anything in your life until you don't care about what people think about you. And if you've been wounded as a child psychologically by either being abused, and any type of abuse, verbal, psychological, physical, or just in general, you just in a company of a lot of unconscious people. When you are being raised, if you are around a lot of unconscious people, you're getting wounded. You're getting traumas happening to you, like Oprah said. Sometimes it's trauma with a small T, and then sometimes it's trauma or abuse with a big T. But it's happening, especially if you're around people who aren't awakened and they're unevolved, or they're just not conscious in how they're speaking to you, or what behaviors they show you through their actions. You be picking this stuff up in some kind of way. It can wound you and carry over into your adulthood. And then you start to realize, whenever you maybe start having a spiritual awakening, you start to realize that every interaction, every person, every place, every job, every situation, people that you encounter from time to time, they're mirroring to you your good attributes and things that you are on the upswing with in terms of your self-perception. And they mirror that good energy back to you, but also sometimes the wounding or the trauma that's unresolved from childhood that's still lingering in our subconscious mind, that we need to bring up to our conscious mind and release because it's a flawed perception, that will be mirrored in your human experiences too. And so I was just reflecting on that, like, yes, when I was small, there were people around that did things and said things and treated me certain type of ways that, at least from my perspective, created a self-worth wound in me, a wound to where in my experiences, some of my interactions with, it could be jobs, bosses, family, friends, in some way, shape, or form, as I was in the shower, it came up to my conscious awareness that people from the past and the present, in some way, shape, or form, whether they're unconscious of what they do or how they show up or interact with me or not, in some way, shape, or form, that inner child wound is still slightly lingering in me, because some of my interactions with people currently, in some cynic, underbelly kind of way, it's an interaction where if I introspect on it hard, deep enough, I can see where it's a subtle way they may try to undercut my self-confidence. It's a subtle way they may try to make me question my worth and value, this kind of thing. But when I introspected on it, what I was linking it back to was it's all coming from an inner child wound from when I was small, when that happened to me, and it started to skew my self-perception. And so when you got unhealed trauma or wounds or just flawed perceptions in terms of how you see yourself going on in the background of your subconscious, when it's unhealed or it's unresolved, in your adult life, your reality in some way, shape, or form, sometimes it's covert, sometimes it's overt. The interactions with people, even people closest to you, will mirror that wound and sometimes trigger your ego or whatever, but it will be mirrored to you because that's a wound. So that's why they say sometimes you got to just, like they say, don't take it personal. And in a sense, it makes me understand more about what this whole term of having a soul contract. So people you meet on a daily basis, people you spend time with, what family, friends, coworkers, bosses, different job experiences you have, in some way, shape, or form, there's a bigger reason that was attracted into your life. And a lot of times it's to help you evolve and grow, even if it's through pain. Because in some way, shape, or form, that person, that place, or that situation will mirror to you the positive aspects and the places where you have evolved and grown and become more mature and self-aware. But it'll also bring to the surface things that still need to be resolved. And especially in my situation, I thought, yeah, I could see that in the subtle ways. Some of my interactions with people, there's some, and I mean, I don't know if they are necessarily conscious of that's the way they are interacting with me. I mean, my old past self probably wouldn't even have caught it, but I do know for sure, certainly there are people that I interact with, even to this day, where there's subtle forms of trying to undercut my self-confidence. It's very covert. Make me question myself, make me question my self-confidence, make me doubt my decision making. And it's done in a very subtle way. It's so interesting. And so I thought, well, these people, that's why sometimes, like they say, don't take stuff so personal. And if you can zoom out, you can see, I mean, honestly, growth can really only happen if you have interactions with people and have relationships, not necessarily always dating, but just companionship, people, friends, whatever it might be. Sometimes it's going to mirror back to you where there's a wound, where there's unhealthy boundaries, where there is a potential issue with the way you're seeing yourself in a flawed way. And so it's a growth opportunity if you can see it that way. Although in the moment when stuff like that happen, it may bruise your ego. It may actually make you feel like you're not enough or like something about you isn't enough, which is a lie. And sometimes people are unconscious in the way they may be making you feel that way. And then some people are intentionally making you trying to make you feel small because they feel small in some way, and they feel insignificant, or they feel questionable about their existence or their purpose. And so sometimes they can project that onto you and try so hard to project that onto you where, like they say, if you hear a lie or tell a lie long enough, you'll believe it. And they'll try to warp your perception of yourself. And so that's why you got to be mindful who you got your kids around. Be mindful who you got your kids around, especially when they're at that impressionable age, because spiritual warfare, psychological warfare, dark magic, dark psychology, whatever you want to call it, it does start in childhood. And if that wound goes unresolved and carry over into your adulthood, eventually your reality, your interactions with people, places, situations, jobs, family, even if the people on the other end are unconscious in their behavior, it will mirror to you where something is still a sore thumb in you, in your psychology, a perspective that you have about yourself that's not true, that is potentially hindering you from the growth that you are looking forward to. Or it could be in any way. It could be, you could be wealthy already, but if you have issues maintaining healthy relationships and finding love, sometimes there's a wound there coming from childhood that has something to do with yourself, some kind of way your self-worth was undercut or put into question. So then you may become an adult and not think you deserve a healthy relationship where somebody loves you unconditionally, and it's not just solely with you for what you can give them. You know what I mean? Like a gold digger type of situation. Well, sometimes that always come in and get attracted into somebody's life because there's a wound there that need to be resolved. And some adults, somebody around you either displayed it or made you feel like you were only worth the money that you can give somebody. So it's like, I just wanted to share that because that was a profound download. And so I see it, I'm aware, I see people, even when, they may be showing up in a body with a smile on their face, you can pick up on the energy. The more you heal and resolve those discrepancies in your psychology, those places in your life where you've disassociated with the true core essence of who you are, and release shame and guilt and self-judgment and toxic inner critic, when you start to release that kind of stuff, then you can really see things more clearly. Like they say, polish your mirror for perfect clarity. Polish your mirror. And so a lot of times, it don't be the people outside you, although in some ways, those people who try to bring you drama and riffraff and undercut your self-confidence in some subtle way and be on demon time, whether they're aware of it or not, those are your greatest teachers, because what they're doing is mirroring something to you of where you can maybe go within and look at yourself more closely and release a unhealthy belief or a toxic belief or some kind of distorted perception that you have on yourself, and then replace it with the truth. And that's why at the end of the day, no matter what you believe in, until you literally have to reprogram your psychology. If you reprogram your psychology with what God says about you or whatever you believe in, you have to do that. You absolutely have to. Otherwise, you will continue to wander around on earth aimlessly and wonder why the outcomes aren't coming out like how you want them to. Why am I stuck? What's the problem? And usually it's from some inner child wound that at the core has something to do with your self-worth, a wound or a trauma that hit your self-worth in some kind of way. And that block carries over into adulthood, and it'll show up in weird, insidious ways where you feel dissatisfied in your adult life some kind of way. It's got something to do with what you feel like you deserve, or a distorted way that you see yourself in terms of your actual value, your inherent value. It can warp all of that. So just be mindful who you got your kids around, because subconscious programming is real. And I'm just grateful that I had the epiphany in the shower. It's something about taking a shower. Maybe it's because I am so present and it just feels so good and relaxing. And so then when your monkey mind is chill and you're not overthinking or ruminating in your head and just enjoying the moment in the present moment, sometimes that's when a download will come in, or something in the subconscious that needed to be addressed way back some time ago will come up to your conscious mind for you to recognize it and examine it. So I think that's just super cool. So I just wanted to share that with whoever come across this. Yeah, if you got any area in your adult life that's lacking or is not up to your expectations currently, and you can't seem to overcome this hurdle or jump over this hurdle, more than likely it's because somewhere in your childhood there's an inner child wound dealing with that area. Not necessarily the exact same, but it's something happened that damaged you back there that is unaddressed, that potentially is still being pushed down. And until you look at that thing closely and release that distortion in your mind about the way you see yourself based off of what somebody else said to you or how they treated you as a child, or any imprinted belief that's disempowering, that's placed in your psychology, it'll continue to your reality. A lot of times your interactions, it'll mirror that wound to you, not for you to want to beat up the outside party, but for you to recognize it and then be willing to go in and do the soul searching and release that toxic crap, so that you become in alignment with who you truly are and see yourself clearly, where can't nobody rock you, can't nobody make you question your worth and value anymore. Nobody can, if they do try to undercut your self-confidence, if that's what they're intending to do, that's their intention, it doesn't matter, because it's at the core, it's about how you see yourself. And if you know who you are, the inherent value that you have as a child of God, period, or the divine or Buddha or whatever you believe in, spiritually, that's where you coming from first before you was even in the body. You can hold that truth and hold on to that and know better, and just know that these are people who are something about you, something about your light. Your light potentially is irritating their demons, meaning the shadow part of their personality. So sometimes the only way they can get at you is to try to subtly undercut your self-confidence, make you second guess yourself, make you question your value and worth. And sometimes these could be the closest people to you. But either way, be grateful, because these are your greatest teachers. They're triggering your ego, just like some situations that I notice and observe. I'm like, yeah, why would that bother me? Or why would I allow that? Or what is it? Why is this similar pattern being drawn into my reality through different people at different times in my life that subtly try to undercut it? What is going on there? And so, yeah, that's what was revealed to me in my shower. So I just wanted to share that with whoever come across this. That's why they say the answer you seek are within. Know thyself, so you can see yourself clearly and know what God says about you, and replace any disempowering negative belief, all that negative self-talk and inner critic, all that garbage that's coming from somewhere. Somebody implanted them seeds in your head, intentionally or unintentionally, to disempower you, or to have some kind of advantage over you in the way you saw yourself, and maybe potentially to make you perceive them as somebody higher than what they were, when at the end of the day, we're all the same. We're all children from the same God, and no matter what your superficial status is, We come at the core. That's why they say it's not what's on you, it's what's in you. And just otherwise, just be grateful for the lesson that's in those kind of situations, because it does happen, and it happens from people. Sometimes they be smile in your face whole time. They want to take your place. Hey, keep that in mind, man. And look at it for what it is. For what is this trying to teach me? And then you back up off of that person or that place or that situation. You have to create a healthy boundary, because sometimes people are so unconscious in their behavior. You cannot be surrounded and smothered by that type of energy, especially when you start to see what is going on. You are trying to release and heal and let go of those perspectives of yourself that sometimes people try to put you in a box and keep pushing that narrative, projecting that narrative onto you. That's unhealthy. So you have to pull yourself out of that and distance the relationship until that person potentially or hopefully evolve to a level of consciousness where you can interact with them more consistently without it draining you, or without it being a projection of energy where whatever they're actually feeling or thinking about their self is getting transferred into your psychology and making you think that this is you, making you feel like these are your thoughts or these are your insecurities. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's a projection. It's an energy transfer. So, yep, that's why they say know thyself and be willing to spend time alone, so that you can question your thoughts and your beliefs and know the difference about what you're thinking. Is this a projection? Is this somebody else's energy I'm picking up? What's going on here? And so that you can be aware and discerning. And that's why they say protect your energy. Y'all be hearing Kevin Gates. He talking some truth. So just do that. Question your thoughts and beliefs. And look real closely at people. What are their intentions? Like they say, people don't remember what you said or what you did. They remember how you made them feel. So how do you feel in certain people's energy? And just question it, And if somebody trigger your ego, just know that, yeah, they may be intentionally doing that, and God will deal with them. They'll have their time. They say every dog got its day. So their time in court will come. And, vengeance is mine, he says. So you ain't got to worry about all that, but pull your energy back and do the introspection that's required so that you can restore your psychology and your mind and your emotions back into balance, so that you can remember who you are and keep that grounded in the forefront, so that your thoughts and ideas and perspectives of yourself won't get entangled in somebody else's toxicity. So anyway, I love y'all, and I just hope to help somebody. But yeah, that was a download I got. So just be mindful of that and protect your kids, protect their minds, because it's very true. And that stuff is so sinister and it's so subtle, and it can be so deep in the subconscious that you won't recognize it. But it is there. If you take a good look at what's happening in your life, it'll probably come to your awareness too, like, oh, this is from way back there. And then you can unlearn the programming that's creating the situations in your life currently as an adult that you don't necessarily want to be happening. You can unlearn that, release those toxic beliefs and thoughts and ideas, and stop and protect your energy and have boundaries so that people cannot project that garbage onto you, period. And even if their intention is to create havoc in your mind, chaos in your mind and drama in your mind, because that's what's going on in their mind, hey, you can still create a healthy boundary and know what to take in and what not to take. Take what resonates and leave the rest. So I love y'all, and I just hope this helps somebody. And yes, protect your peace at all costs. And be mindful. Like I say, you are who you hang around and all of that. You have to check all of that when you really get down to the nitty gritty, and you worth that peace of mind, baby. So I love y'all, and I'll talk to y'all a little later. But I just had to share that with y'all. So hopefully it makes sense. I don't know. But I'll talk to y'all a little later. Okay, bye.